Hey, Chidarin. You're always my sign to know that I'm live. The stream is working fine. Okay, so this is where we left off. Just double checking. Hey, Vibarum, how's it going?
ごめんなさい。軽いアドバイスのつもりが怖がらせすぎちゃったかしら。
Oh, Chidarin. Aww. Oh, that's so cute.
この天気のせいね。軽く凄むだけのつもりだったのに、加減を間違えちゃったわ。
Kiria let a relaxed smile rise to her face. The tense atmosphere finally slackened. However, her words had been gouged into Jessica's heart.
ジェシカちゃんの恋がどんなものかはわからないけれど。
Kirieba's mother. You know what I did a couple hours ago? I went back to that scene in the hallway in episode 3, where she was batting Leviathan, and to be honest, the vibe is the same. So it's not that it's necessarily new, it's just that she actually spelled it out last time that she wanted Asuma to die and she was planning for it as well, which probably, yeah, makes it a bit... But it's I feel like it's a natural continuation of where we were back then. So it doesn't feel that off. To be honest, I didn't think it was a metaphor. I actually did think she meant it. Yeah. Yeah, this girl. She's still super cool though. Hi, Bat. Also, hi, Patch. Yeah, I guess I got everyone. Yeah. Just a sec. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's go.
ライバルがいて、お互いが譲れない状況ならばなおのこと、のんびりなんかしてられない。じゃないと、私みたいになっちゃうわよ。
Hey, Aris-chan, or Moth-chan, whichever one you prefer most. All things are okay.
女は恋のために。
Nice to have you around as always.
人生で一度、殺意を持つべきよ。
She's giving out good advice. Yeah, every woman should have one time in her life when she would kill for the sake of love. Chan-chan. Yes.
世界中で母を名乗るすべての女がそうだったと断言できるわ。
I get it. See, it's the same thing we were talking about last time. I get it on the metaphorical sense that when you have a child to protect, you turn into a lioness and you would kill to protect the child. I get that. Now, to plot murder against the woman who took your partner away, I don't know if that falls into the same category, you know? She's kind of like conflating two things, which in abstract sound the same, but in execution and like here in the concrete world, they're not quite the same. At least not to me, but yeah, okay.
だってそうじゃない女は他の女に食い殺されて生涯を嫉妬と後悔の地獄で這い続けるのだから。私はその地獄に18年いた。
Yeah, this... I don't want to dismiss her pain. I'm sure that was very difficult to go through. Difficult being like the understatement of the century. But this thing, like, if you don't do that, you're gonna be chewed to bits by the other women. Not saying that there aren't women who wouldn't do that. Like, I'm sure there are. But, like, why would you want to be in that situation in the first place? Just, yeah.
私は幸運よ。たった18年で恩赦になれた。
Yeah, I understand that, Ishan. I shouldn't be ready to kill for the single. It's not that. It's just, yeah. Going as far as murdering someone in actuality is quite the leap for anything, any reason.
あの地獄には今も大勢の女たちがいて死ぬまで出られないの。後悔する自分を自らの手で処刑しない限りね。
なんていうか言葉もないです。
エールを送るつもりだったのに私ったら脅しすぎたわ。本当にごめんなさい。恋愛なんてもっともっと気楽でいいのよ。
Obsessive jealous love, maybe? What do you mean, to which list are you adding it? To the list of symptoms that Kirie is displaying?
恋愛なんて本当に火遊び。
That's pretty normal. I read needle. No, not. Ah, the kinds of loves we're getting to see. Got it. Yeah, I guess so. I just reading all of these. It just makes me sad because it's such a narrow view of things, but at least from what we have been told, this is what she has lived and what she has endured, and so to her it's very real. I feel bad because she is a cool person, so she would have deserved to live something a bit better than this, because it definitely exists. It's not just this like narrow window that she can see through and she says, okay, this is life and this is love and this is how things work. I'm sorry to say, she deserved much better than Rudolph. But okay.
誰でも簡単に気軽に遊べちゃう。そして間違えて大やけどした時、その傷が生涯残るんだけどね。
Back to Umineko best shonen. Hi, yeah. Best comedy, romance, or best everything. List all genres, it's there. Such cool woman for a lame man like Rudolph. Yeah. I think Kitty and Rudolph did nothing wrong and they are the best couple. They are cool as a couple. But he's cheating on her. Left and right. Like, at the very minimum, that's happening. Right? So it's just like, no. Regrets and love will never fade. That was all that Kirie had been trying to communicate. It wasn't like Kirie to tell her life story instead of just saying something like that directly. In fact, her past was a topic she usually avoided. However, Kirie might have felt as though Jessica deserved to hear. Jessica had timidly brought up the subject of love. Perhaps Kirie had opened up and told everything, because she had seen the fires of Jessica's determination in her eyes.
じゃあ、私はそろそろ戻るわね。今の話、私たちだけの内緒よ。
With a mysterious smile on her face, Kirie turned around.
脅しすぎちゃったかしら。でも、脅されて知る地獄の方が100倍いい。そこに落ちた時は、もう手遅れなのだから。頑張ってね、ジェシカちゃん。ややこしそうな恋だけど、負けないでね。たまには人生の先輩らしく振る舞えたかしら。ん？何？ジェシカちゃん。
Oh my god. Okay, I did not expect that kind of face, but okay. I was braced for something creepy, and obviously Umineko exceeded my expectations. Ay, god damn it. A windstorm grazed Kirie's head. Fuck. It had missed by a hair. If Kirie hadn't twisted her body slightly, that fist would probably have been buried in her face by now. A bitter smile rose to Jessica's face when she saw that her first strike had failed to land a kill.
言っとくけど、卑怯者だから不意打ちをしたわけじゃねえんだぜ。わけのわからないうちに一撃で、痛みさえ理解できないうちに終わらせようとしたのに。
I don't like this Jessica with her dead eyes.
言ったでしょ？嫉妬の地獄で生きてきたって。刺されそうになったことの2度や3度あるんだから。わかるのよ。不意打ちの直前の雰囲気が。
気配で分かったとでも？
それプラス、一番最初の嘘かしら。
嘘？
だって、ゲストハウスから来て、ジェシカちゃんの部屋で本を取って帰ろうとしたら、ここでこの向きでは出会わないもの。あなたがその嘘をつく必要性について、チェス盤理論で想定した7つのケースの中で。
And this is why we like Kiria, because she's capable of doing this.
最悪のものがこれだったわ。
Telling a hasty lie to Kiria would only put her on her guard. If Jessica hadn't told that lie, her surprise attack would have succeeded.
やるね。
Yeah, you know, Kiria is cool like that. In this sense, she is.
さすが、キリエおばさんだぜ。
どうして？あなたは最初から私を殺すつもりだったわ。
誰でもよかった。
最悪だわ。
キリエおばさんの話のおかげで吹っ切れた。感謝するぜ。
Kiria dodged the punch, placed her hand against that fist, and slammed it against the wall. Ordinarily, being made to punch the wall should have caused Jessica to hurt her own hand, and roll around clutching it in pain. However, Jessica's fist had left what looked like a meter-wide crater in the wall. Instead of a look of anguish after smashing her fist against the wall, Jessica clicked her tongue in irritation at having missed.
すごいわね。さすがクラウス兄さんの子だわ。ボクシングでも始めたの？
Impossible. Jessica is bare-handed. She isn't holding any sort of weapon at all.
抵抗しないで、おばさん。頭一発。痛みなんか感じさせない。
Kiria tried to look confident, but she couldn't hide her confusion at this unreal destructive force. If the punch had hit, her head probably would have split open like Jessica had said, killing her without any pain.
行くぜ。
If Kiria's kick off the ground and leap backward had been an instant slower, her gut would probably have been pulverized. Though she had avoided it by a hair, Jessica's left body blow was followed by a terrible tornado-like gust of wind, which blew Kiria back.
これは夢？私、寝ぼけてる。わけがわからない。
This Jessica looked like the normal Jessica, but something was different. It wasn't human, and common sense didn't apply to it. This had to be some kind of nightmare. Kiria slowly stood up. Then she looked at Jessica, noticed the several meters between them, and realized just how far that blast of wind had sent her flying.
恨んでくれていいぜ。でも私も、キリエおばさんの言うように、引けな私も自分の恋、中途半端には終わらせられねえんだ。
IKEA Furniture Boy is mine.
あなたは何を言ってるの？ねえ、何を言ってるの？何なのよ、これは一体。誰か教えて！
The air around Jessica seemed to bend like a heat wave. It seemed to be enshrouding her fists. And it seemed as though something like a red magic circle had appeared beneath her feet. She looked just like a western demon standing amidst the flames of hell.
炎熱不要、重量不要、鉄鋼不要。
Each time Jessica muttered, her fists were surrounded by a pulsating, sinister red light. Those fists, which were even giving off smoke, surely represented the iron hammers of hell wielded by demons. Kiria dashed away with lightning speed. Yes, right now. That was her best option. She was smart enough to realize that pinching her cheek wasn't the best way to wake up from this nightmare, and by now this came as no surprise. Those stages.
No.
Canon was Pinocchio all this time. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I guess so. When Jessica muttered once more, a blood-red magical barrier blocked up the corridor. Kiria slammed into it hard and realized that her path of escape had been cut off. I see now. Thank you for saying that. The connection has been made in my head. I'm not furniture, I'm a real boy. Interesting how this time around Jessica is collaborating with Ronoe on this fight. This is creepy as hell. Jessica slowly stepped forward towards her, enshrouded in flames. Each time her feet lifted off the floor, boiling steam hung around her footprints. This was a true nightmare. Kiria clutched her head in her hands, shaking it over and over again. Oh, there we are. Jessica's neck twisted at an odd angle, and she staggered backwards, her eyes rolled back into her head, as though she didn't have a clue what had just happened. A demon stake was buried at an angle into her forehead. Cool continuation for me to have Leviathan again. It pulled itself out of her, spun around, then became Leviathan and landed. The hole left behind in Jessica's head spewed blood. Very interesting. Why not call upon her? Very interesting. Wow, okay. Mm-hmm. Therefore, Kano never lied, because else his nose would the image you're putting in my head, Moth-chan. Kano with the ay. cool as hell, but also kind of sad, because that means Kiria is still seeing her in her dreams, even though she's together with Rudolph now. Well, she did say it's the friend that appears in her nightmares, and she probably has a lot of those still. I'm sorry to say, but her being with Rudolph doesn't seem to mean that much in Rudolph terms. So, yeah. Sorry, did I miss that? I know, that was just Jessica, yeah. Even though she had taken a deep gouge to the top of the head, Jessica just stood there convulsing and wide-eyed and didn't fall over. Oh, the mental image. The blood stopped pouring out of her forehead and her blank doll-like eyes returned. Then she slowly pressed her own palm against the wound in her forehead. There was a sizzle as though she had pressed a hot iron against it. It was easy to imagine that she was doing this to seal up the wound. What am I reading? This is like when children play pretend and one goes overboard with "I have now machine guns in my teeth, so I win," and then the other kid says no because I'm actually a meteor. You're absolutely right, that's the same vibe. If Kiria didn't escape now, there would never be another chance.
あいつを倒せる。
無理ね。あいつ大悪魔の誰かと契約してるわ。不死身よ。
It was a hologram.
それは愛ゆえに。だから不死身なのさ。は
あ、愛よ偉大なれ。我らの祝福する者に不死身あれ。
この赤い魔法の壁は破れる。
ロノエ様も大悪魔。私じゃ無理よ。
Well, I have the gold truth, which is more important than the red truth, so take that. I mean, I don't think any of that matters right now.
窓から逃げられる。
窓もとっくにロノエ様の結界で塞がれてるわ。
すごいわね。恋のために悪魔に魂を売ったわけかしら。
よくもあんな大悪魔たちとこんなにも契約が。妬ましい。装甲付与全属性防御攻撃反応装甲付与
In response to these words, this time her entire body pulsated with a red light. She had upgraded herself with a defensive power that would ensure Leviathan's attacks would never work again.
あいつ何を言ってるの？
自己増強のエンチャントっていうの。今のあいつは私に二度と貫かせない防御力を持ち。
JJK? I don't know what that is.
その上攻撃者にダメージ反射する力まで持ってる。もう人間じゃないわ。化け物よ。
なんだ。さっきと大して変わってないのね。
そうとも言う？
Ah, Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay, we got it. I haven't seen that one, so the abbreviation meant nothing to me, so sorry.
最初の時点から勝ち目がないことに何の変化もないわ。
痛かった。でも効かない。
Got it. Jessica slowly lifted the hand that had been covering her forehead, and there was no longer any hole there. Oh yeah, the music and that annoying sound effect on top of it, yeah. That emote, what the hell? Pretty much that. The hall was blocked by barriers in both directions, and even the windows were sealed. There was no way out.
そこの部屋の扉封印されてる。
ただの正常だわ。
No, no worries.
ただの部屋よ。
It's all good, Benito. Make as many as you want. It's her noble phantasm. Yeah, true, true.
窓はあるけれど、すでに封印されてるわ。つまりは密室。私たちの棺桶ってわけ。
棺桶上等だわ。鍵を開けて。妬ましいわ。あんたにしか開けられないなんて。
Leviathan's stake flew about at high speeds, ramming itself into the keyhole to that room. The tip of the stake had become a key. As soon as it was unlocked, the door flew open. Both of them fell into the room and quickly locked it. This was probably Krause's study. Its soothing furnishings brought about the sense of nobility that Krause would probably like. Yeah, no.
正常なんかしても、あいつは扉を一撃で打ち砕けるわ。キリエは自分で自分の棺桶の蓋を閉じただけよ。
でもね、棺桶の中で私たちにとどめを食らわせたかったら蓋を開けなければならない。
With dim eyes, Jessica tilted her head upon hearing Kirie's words.
何を言ってんの？その小さな部屋がどうしておばさんを守ってくれると？
I don't have the answer to the question, but I have another thought, is that never underestimate Kirie when she is sure and confident in her plans. Because the woman sure knows how to spin the chessboard around and quite quickly and efficiently figure things out and make a plan for them, so I wouldn't underestimate that.
確かにこの部屋は密室だわ。私たちの退路はない。でもね、あなただってこの部屋には侵入できないの。それが密室というもの。
何を言っている？そんなちっぽけな部屋のこんなちっぽけな扉一枚でどうして私から逃れたつもりに？
With the confused expression on her face, Jessica looked warily between her own burning fists and the door. Then slowly she sent that pulsating red light to her fists. Kirie's big brain, yes. Pretty much that, Renito. You said it better than me. She repeatedly enchanted her fists to give them the destructive power for the killing blow.
こんな扉粉々にしてやる。
できるならね、やってごらんなさい。
I'm honestly surprised. Kirie brain even fits inside her skull with how big it is, I guess. Responding calmly through the door, which was the only thing separating her from Jessica, Kirie placed a single index finger on it as if to hold it shut. Jessica slowly raised a fire-wreathed demonic fist.
さよなら、キリエおばさん。
Now that is a completely different vibe. What? What is the song? Jessica's fist slammed into the door in slow motion. It was the same kind of slow motion often seen as a special effect at the climax of a movie. However, this was no special effect. Jessica's fist really was slowing down as though it was being sucked in, like a spoon sinking into a jar of honey. That punch was no longer a punch. It was no more than a knock.
嫉妬するなよ。あなた。
Oh my god. Those emotes, they're just perfect. Fighting game music, smash the joystick. Ay, ay, ay.
私は恋に対する甘えと傲慢から18年嫉妬の地獄を張ったんだ。だからあなたが妬ましいの。あなたは私の忠告を受けて恋を成就させて美しい人生を歩むでしょうね。 妬ましいわ。女の一番美しい時間をあなたは私よりも18年も長く過ごせる。妬ましい。
Jessica tried to slam her fists against the door over and over again. However, as soon as her fist approached it, its speed plummeted. She could barely knock, much less smash the door.
速度不要、瞬発不要、音速不要。
無駄よ、お嬢ちゃん。
砕けろ！
With full speed upgrades, Jessica's fist moved at the speed of sound. Ah, there it is, the speed of sound again. Oh, okay. 1,225 kilometers per hour. However, how long had Jessica been in Envy to gain that speed? It was much less than Kirie. So then to Kirie, this was actually slow motion. Yes. Man, I'm glad I rewatched that scene earlier today. She had started to envy George and Shannon's relationship about 2 years ago. Rookie numbers. The math is not gonna compute. I just noticed something. Kasumi is Kirie's sister, and she was jealous about Enja being able to live a carefree life, or so she believed. I mean, she was envy about Kirie for similar reasons. She was envious of Kirie, sorry. For similar reasons, so... Yeah. Alright, so here's the math. They're hitting us with the math again. I'm sorry, for me it's very fresh, so like, it cracks me up. Alright, so that's 2 times 365 equals 730 days. 730 times 24 equals 17,520 hours. However, she wasn't envious all the time. It only happened when Shannon started going on about George. With Shannon's shift on about 3 days of the week, that's divided by 7 multiplied by 3. Okay. And it wasn't as though she would go on about George all day long. Her fond words for him would only leave a mark on Jessica for about an hour. So, only 24th of each day. So, 17,520 divided by 7 multiplied by 3 then divided by 24 is 312 rounded down. We're nerfing Jessica's power. The number of hours that Kirie had been jealous was 157,680. In other words, this was a scant 0.2% of the time that Kirie had been jealous. Even 1,225 kilometers per hour, the speed of sound, becomes only 2.45 kilometers per hour in the 1/500th world? Is that how I'm supposed to read it right? You get it.
わかる?
Yeah, I guess it's also like, if you think about it in that perspective, it's like Kasumi was jealous of Kirie. Kirie was jealous of Asumu. Who knows what Asumu was jealous of? Because she's part of this family. She likely wasn't like, she definitely had something afflicting her. Because everyone in this family does. So yeah, it's just this grass is greener on the other side kind of mentality, and not being able to see what you do have, which is kind of sad. Shonen fans making power scaling not ridiculous challenges possible. Rikishi's sitting at his desk looking over at his collection of Nasu novels. Yeah, this needs some useless math right here.
あなた、恋も嫉妬も足りないわ。
Even Jessica's sonic fists were no faster than a walking child in Kitty's world. Jessica ground her teeth, her fist still pressed against the door. If someone could have seen this from both sides of the door, it would have looked as though Kiria was holding it shut with a single finger.
ねえ、この部屋は密室でしょ。ジェシカちゃんはせいぜいノックをすることはできるけど、中の私たちには指一本触れることはできない。
Interesting.
ベアトリーチェの密室邸です。
何それ。
こうなるとこの密室ちと厄介ですが、密室殺人を行うのは人間には不可能。それが行えるのは魔法だけです。ジェシカ様が真に魔法を理解されない限り打ち破れますまい。
もはやジェシカちゃんに私を詰めることはできない。
Love is stronger than math, or is it? I have no idea.
やがて時間は進み、私がいつまでも戻らないことに気づいた親族たちが屋敷を探し始めるの。そしてあなたは観測される。魔女も魔法も観測されたら消える。悪夢の時間はもう終わりよ、お嬢ちゃん。
おや、ジェシカがいきなり脱落なんてびっくりだよ。
どうか頑張って。愛しのカノンのためにも。
さあジェシカ、愛を信じてどうか奇跡を見せておくれ。
訂正するわ。時間の経過を待つ必要さえない。だってここに内線電話があるんだもの。もちろん断線なんかしてないわ。私はこの受話器を取る。これが私のチェックメイト。
Sport commentators, you know, when it makes me think of actually like capital commentators about the Hunger Games. That's where my mind goes more than sports. Local blondie sells her soul 20 times to demonic entities, gets stopped by a wooden door. I'm gonna solve this math with power of love. If you think about it, love is everything, so love is 100%. Math explained the laws of physics, but not of the heart of humans, so love better, and I refuse to explain. Yeah.
構築完了。
Oh,
密
no.
室殺人。
おや、有効ですな。
浸透付与。打撃伝達。間接攻撃力付与。
Jessica's fist, which was pressed against the door, glowed red and then white hot. Jessica didn't even swing her fist. She just kept it pressed against the door. However, Jessica's murder reached inside the locked room. Through the cracks in the study door, through the keyhole, burst the flames of hell. Jessica couldn't see what was happening inside the room. However, even here, on the other side of the door, she could tell that the flames of hell had swallowed the entire room. Small bumps. Ay, ay, ay. Kiria's smoldering death throes could be heard from across the door. Jessica clearly heard as Kiria danced the dance of death amidst the hellfire, fell to her knees and slumped over to the floor. Slowly, Jessica tore her burning fist away from the door.
そんなに嫉妬の地獄が恋しいなら焼かれてろ。嫉妬の炎で永遠に。嫉妬から学ぶものもあるだろうぜ。だがそれは誇るもんじゃねえし義務でもねえ。やっぱりあんたおごってたぜ、キリエおばさん。
お見事な密室殺人ですな。
後片付けを頼むぜ。やがて見つかる遺体が黒焦げじゃ あまりに申し訳がない。きれいにしてやってくれるか。
かしこまりました、お嬢様。
Roasting kitty. Got the red needle. I don't know, it transformed into a gold butterfly and entered Krause's study through the keyhole. Then he had to cross his arms and think about how he should even start cleaning up Kirie's unrecognizable corpse in this room that had ended up as a burning hell. Jessica finally let out the breath that she had been holding down in her chest. Her normal human glint finally returned to her eyes. And then she couldn't help but shudder at what she had done, even if it had just been a trial on the game board for the sake of her love.
悪魔ども、これでいいんだろう。
ええ、お見事です、ジェシカ。あなたの愛も本物だ。
George welcomed Jessica with crisp applause. Beto timidly tried to join him, but Jessica yelled at them and she stopped.
ゲーム版の上の話じゃないか。そこまで悲しむことじゃね
理屈じゃ分かってる。
This chapter's tier list: lock room, envy, love, math.
でもだからって心の整理がつくわけがねえだろ。お嬢様、カノン君、私君のことが好き。諦められないよ。だから示したよ、私の気持ち。私間違ってないよね。間違ってないよね。お嬢様。
As Jessica started to sob, Kanon held her quietly, and he realized that he would have to carry on the determination she had shown him.
何も間違ってないさ、君。そして人の心を残し苦しむことも間違ってない。僕はそういうことに対し少し君よりストイックだっただけの話さ。
誰もがジョージ様の境地に至れるわけではありません。しかしどうあれ、お嬢様はとにもかくにも試練お見事です。その決意の強さ。
そういうことであるな。ジョージもジェシカも見事やり遂げたことは同じだ。あっぱれであったぞ、ジェシカ。今の密室殺人、魔女のわらわも見惚れるなかなかのものであった。
Jessica had used magic to kill Kirie, who had holed up inside a closed room. In that instant, Jessica had constructed a locked room murder, had it acknowledged by the demons, and raised it to the level of magic.
これで2人の試練が完了だわ。
さあ、次は誰が挑戦を？
ベアトリーチェ様かしら？
いやいや、シャノンかもしれないよ。
ここはカノンの出番に違いないわ。
さあ、名乗り出てほしい。次は誰？誰が試練を？
魔女がゲーム版の殺人に臆してどうするというのか。奥手も過ぎれば恋を殺すぞ。
さあ、次は
誰が恋の殺人を？
The three who remained looked at each other. If the other two are going to spend a few more moments hesitating to raise their hands, I will raise my own instead. All three thought this at the same time. So, they all raised their hands at the same time. The ones they loved had already shown their determination. They had to carry on. For Shannon and Canon, yes. For Beatrice, that doesn't really apply. The The fate of those who do not fight. Oh. Okay. Rosa could be seen in the parlor. It seemed that the relatives all wanted to be alone now that they had dispersed for a short break. Since everyone had avoided the parlor, the obvious place for people to gather, Rosa was able to have this relaxing and comforting room all to herself. That didn't mean she looked relaxed. Her expression was heavy with gloom and weariness. The cup of black tea that she had brought from the dining hall had gone stone cold. Comforting silence. Now that no one else was in sight, Rosa's heart finally awoke. She was always treated like a kid in the conferences with her 3 siblings. She had no influence at all. But possibly because of that, she was apparently considered to be a neutral party. The siblings would often ask for her agreement, sometimes even treating her like an adjudicator or a judge.
それをうまく生かして私の望むように会議を誘導しなくちゃ。
I have to find almost 100 million yen by March. That was supposed to be my great commitment, a burden I bore to help support his business.
今はもうよくわからない。借金を無事に返済できたら彼は連絡をくれるのだろうか。
Oh, lady.
今さら連絡なんかくれてもこっちから願い下げよう。でもあなたはマリアの父親なのよ。
I see.
せめて一度でいいから会ってあげて。
愛というのは貫くのも辛いのですね。
誰
Though no one should have been in the parlor, someone suddenly spoke to Rosa and she jumped. Just when had it happened? Kanon could be seen standing there. Even considering that she had been deep in thought, to think that she hadn't noticed him at all.
びっくりしたわ。ごめんなさい。考え事をしてて気づかなかったみたい。何？
いえ、ローザ様を今苦しめているのは愛ゆえにです。違いますか？
唐突ね。何の話かよくわからないわ。
ローザ様はマリア様の父親に借金の連帯保証人を求められ、それを引き受けられました。
困った子ね。クラウス兄さんが話してたのを廊下か何かで聞いてたのね。
True. Earlier this day, in this very room, Kraus had seen through to the fact that Rosa was bearing a massive debt because she had become a co-signer on a loan. However, he hadn't said that her partner had been Maria's father. Why did Kanon know so much?
ローザ様はとても聡明な方です。連帯保証人を引き受けることがよく考えもせず引き受けたわけが。
席こそまだだったけれど、これから結婚する相手でパートナーだと思ってた。私の名前がなければ借りられないお金なら、それに協力するのが未来の妻の役目だと思ったのよ。
未来は来ましたか？
No, it hadn't. So afterwards, Rosa was always alone. And Maria never had a father. However, time moved on. Maria, who should have been a symbol of their union, just kept growing. Almost like a living hourglass measuring the length of the hell Rosa had crawled through. Because of that, Maria's growth hurt.
皮肉よね。私はあの男のことを何度も忘れようとしたわ。でもね、忘れても借金は消えないのよ。
It was only natural, and so whether or not she forgot her love, she had to do all she could to pay that money
でもね、
back.
こうも思うの。私が立派に返済しきったら、それは彼が私に与えてくれた
愛の試練に打ち勝ったという意味にもなるの。結局は返さなくちゃいけない借金なのに、どうしてその結果得られる愛を先に自ら捨てるの？返済してから考えても遅くはないと思わない？
It might have been a trick of words that only those who have suffered through love could understand. Even Rosa vaguely realized that she might have been deceived. However, if she was able to succeed in paying back the loan, he might acknowledge her usefulness as a wife. Yeah, it's breaking mine as we speak as well, Dezo. She still believes that somehow, someway, he might come back to her, even if it's just for Maria. I don't know where to begin to voice my thoughts. I think my face conveys it perfectly, so I'm not gonna. It's just... oh... When that happens, she might be able to regain her love. But if she had already abandoned that love, then what? This debt, this trial that he had given her, would become completely meaningless. Yeah. It's not that it's hard to believe. I don't find it necessarily hard to believe. It's just, in contrast with all of her actions and what she ends up doing, saying, it stops having any sort of weight and importance. Even if she does love Maria in her heart. Like, I love you in my heart, but I'm just beating the hell out of you and screaming of you and making your life a hell, a living hell every single day. Sure, it might be true that you're loving that person in your heart, but does it even, like, hold a candle to the other things that you're doing? No. Is that we're done talking about Rosa? No, I didn't, necessarily. I don't think that her love deep in her heart matters a lot until she shows that love to Maria. Exactly that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna be dismissive and say, nah, I know what this character is thinking and feeling. I'm pretty sure they don't feel or think that. Maybe they do. But if the actions they take are in contradiction of that and so overwhelmingly take over everything, then the feeling in the heart is just, it pales in comparison and it ends up not having that much of a meaning in the grand scheme of things. That's all. Actions speak louder than words, and Rosa's actions say a lot. Yeah, she has her moments. She has her moments, but... It's also worth it to keep in mind this is a story and the author made an active choice to show us the character of Rosa as she is right now. As she is unable to allow the true feelings in her heart to dictate her actions and to stop her when she's about to have violent outbursts, and to actually, you know, motivate her to make amends in any way, like at any tiny step would like be something, but she's like not really doing any of that. And I guess it's a choice made that she's like that so that we can explore the theme and all of the ideas behind it and the ramifications and repercussions that can have both in Rosa's life and in her child's life. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as powerful, I suppose. But yeah, it's sad. It's very sad. We also have the later, this is the game board, so it's still a fictional version of Rosa inside the story. Yeah, I get that too. I get that too. Right, so for her, the death itself appears to be a trial of love. In fact, the very fact that she looked at it that way might have been her blindness due to love. As well as proof that she still hadn't cast off her infatuation with the past. Even now, she still suffered. And that suffering would continue, at least until she paid back the massive loan, and let a good deal of time pass after that, until she could finally lay her feelings for him to rest. Like back in episode 4, where the Maria inside Enja's mind accuses her of projecting her own beliefs into her diary. Yep.
これがキリエ様の言う地獄なのか。
そうね。何の話かは分かりかねるけど、私の世界が地獄で満たされてることは間違いないわ。
それはどうやったら終わらせられるのですか。
さあね。それが分かったら誰も恋の病に蝕まれたりはしない。
That disease is a serious one. It sometimes eats into a person for their entire life, spreading to and hurting the people closest to them. That disease was torturing her now as much as it ever had.
キリエさんの話が出たから言うけど、彼女の話は私にとって希望、夢なの。
Though she had her man stolen from her, she persevered for 18 years. She never fell to despair and instead continued to support Rudolph, lying in wait for a miracle. Are we supposed to look up to that? Because I'm sorry, but I don't. I don't. I respect Kiria to hell, but like, no.
マリアはまだ9歳よ。キリエさんが待った18年のまだ半分じゃない。それくらいで音を上げてたら彼女に笑われるわ。
あと9年で奇跡が起こると思いますか。
それを疑ったらおしまいよ。ある意味私は亡霊なのよ。私はすでに死んでいる。それに気づかず生きている。
決して来ない人を永遠に待つ亡霊。
そうよ。彼の夢を応援したいなんて甘えたことを言ったあの日に、私は多分もう死んでいた。やっぱりあの日は後悔すべき日だったのかしら。俺には夢がある。海外を巡りたい。このちっぽけな日本を飛び出して必ず大物になって帰ってくる。懐かしいわね。
I see.
あの頃の私は互いの途方もない夢を認め合うのが恋人同士だ。だから彼も私がデザイナーとして大成してパリで新作を発表して取材陣にもみくちゃにされるなんて夢を楽しそうに語って喜ばせてくれたわ。思えば本当におかしな地に足がついてない日々だった。互いに互いを浮かれさせてふわふわし合ってる感じ。
That's not necessarily a wrong thing.
だから彼が日本を飛び出したいなんて言い出した時、私はそれを喝采して応援。
Acknowledging each other's great dreams that might never be is a standard sort of pillow talk for lovers. And the thing is, if you don't dream it first, of course it will never come true. So at some point you dream it when maybe it's not an immediate thing that can happen. What's so wrong with that? But once they started to translate into actual action, from that point on, I should have been serious and practical.
私はあの日、彼を見送ったことを長いこと誇りにしてた。今も誇りにしてる。
でも後悔もしているんですね。
そうよ。あの日泣きわめいて反対してたら
私は地獄に落ちなかったかもしれない。それを笑顔で見送ったのが私の勝利？違うわ。それはある意味戦うべき時を自ら放棄した不先輩みたいなものだった。私はその負けを美化して男の海外への挑戦を笑顔で見送り、海外しく娘と帰りを待つ良き女の幻想に酔ってるだけ。電話一本よこさず彼が教えてくれた住所への郵便も転居先不明で戻ってくるのにね。ここが地獄よ。戦うべき時に戦わなかったことを死ぬまで後悔する地獄。私はその地獄に娘まで引きずり込んでいる。
I don't know, this feels a little bit paradoxical to me because she's taking responsibility in a sense, like putting the weight on her shoulders for something that was not in her power to control. Like, it's nowhere near her fault that the guy, once he saw himself in a certain position, is like, you know what? I'm not going back to that woman or that child of mine. That's all on him. But she is taking that outcome and projecting it backwards into the past and saying it was her mistake for letting him go, and she should have somehow begged and pleaded to prevent that, and I don't know how that could prevent it. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, but the thing is, she blames herself for this, and I find it paradoxical that for other things that she does actively in the present, she excuses herself of the responsibility. Yeah, that's all. I do empathize with the idea that having that done to you can leave you bitter, and then you can take that pain and project it in crooked ways backwards onto the past. So I feel for her in a certain sense, but in another is just... she's such a paradoxical character, that's all. Yeah.
いっそ誰かに殺されたい。お前はすでに殺された。亡霊なのだと。
Ah, well, aren't you lucky? Guess what Canon is here to do?
恋は戦わなくちゃ地獄を這う。
そう、恋は戦うもの。
勝って得るか、負けて死ぬか。
でもどうか死を恐れないで。
なぜならそれは安らかな眠りだから。真に恐ろしいのは、
If every character in Umineko would be reasonable, there wouldn't be Umineko. You're right, you're right.
勝てず、そして死ねもしなかった
I just
眠れ
found...
ぬ亡者たちの落ちる地獄。
Sorry, I thought they were stopped. They had done speaking. I just found the contrast between the two a bit striking in the moment. That's all. That's all I was commenting on. I'm not saying that what she's feeling right now isn't human. It is. It is. I can see the train of thought of how you get there. Or at least half of the cast. Yeah, I guess each and every single one of them has their own thing. Ah, Bear, I think I am able to resonate because I am very flawed myself. So I appreciate you. That's very sweet. But yeah. In my own way, I likely am not that much different from them. But there's just no violence or murderous tendencies attached, I promise. At least there's that. Rosa is full of contradictions, which makes her so compelling as a character. That's true. That's true.
その地獄に終わりはない。
恋の戦いは戦いもせず 死ねもしなかったものに。
恋は当たって砕けろってわけだ。
No.
そういう討ち死にはせいせいするよな。
I think she's the best character in the whole VN in terms of writing. Even the main cast isn't as nuanced as she is. Yeah, there's a lot of layers to her. That's for sure.
人を最も苛む毒薬は恋を腐らせて作るという。その苦しみはどのような悪趣味な地獄の拷問をも上回る。
She said this as a warning to motivate her double and little sister, encouraging her to take on any trial, no matter how severe.
わかります。
After all, when my desire to have Battler Son one day... Battler Son. It's so... I'm not used to saying it that way. Battler Son. One day accept me wells up in my chest. I can feel the seed that resides there.
その種を芽吹かせるも
Yeah.
死なせるも自由。
We can... Like, these two things can coexist. Her being written very, very well as a very nuanced character with a lot of layers, and it gives us material for a lot of conversation and a lot of exploration of themes and motifs and psychology and everything that you want. And we can appreciate that, and at the same time, we can not like her. You know? They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
でもそのまま胸の中で腐らせればきっとその毒は私を永遠に苛む。それこそが我ら千年の魔女をしても最も恐れる世界で一番恐ろしい拷問だ。
見届けよ、恋を愛を軽んじる者たちよ。このローザの地獄こそが
恋の種を芽吹かせる勇気を持てず、腐らせたる者がたどる末路。
Rosa Tricia theory, let's go.
その苦しみは自分の手では終わらせられない。
All of these takes on love, they boggle my mind. I just have to come to a point where I accept that this is what it is and roll with it, I guess. Huh? Just now, was that the red light?
失礼しました。
Yeah, they are, doesn't. How would love turn into a fight? Well, like this. Canon just slices through you. Sakutaro Tricia, oh no. Oh man, I can't imagine that. Just now, I thought I saw something strange. I wonder if I'm tired. It's probably just my imagination. Rosa picked up her cup of cold tea. When she did, she saw a small red rose petal floating on the surface. Rose...
そのソファーはローザ様が幼少の頃好んで横になられたものと聞いております。
It wasn't a rose petal. It was a drop of blood that had fallen from Rosa's eyes? In an instant, Kano had beautifully and precisely cut just the single thread of Rosa's life. There was no wound on Rosa's body. There were only the few drops of blood that dripped down from her eyes. Somehow, that makes it so much worse. Her pain, her uncertainties, and her worries were all gone now. Slowly, she collapsed onto the sofa and lay there. That had been one of her most blissful habits during the most blissful time of her life.
おやすみなさいませ。ローザ様、あなたの地獄は今
Kanon took a blanket out of a cupboard and gently covered Rosa with it. It would have looked to anyone, just as though Rosa was sleeping peacefully. Those demons had not exaggerated when speaking of love as a battle and a trial. In fact, although cruel, this could even be said to be an honest reflection of reality, in the sense that it made no attempt to hide the fact that to lose in love is to die.
This my normalは終わりだ。見届けたか、悪魔ども。しまった。よくもママを殺したな。
It couldn't have been that just easy. There it is. Nope. That was just too clean, too short. That wasn't feeling very Umineko-like. One of the two great witches of Mariage Sorcière, Maria. Though she was just an apprentice, the power sleeping within her had impressed even Beatrice at the height of her strength. In Maria's eyes, though Rosa was the Black Witch, she was also the vessel of the mother she couldn't help but love. Her anger at having that stolen from her was near madness. Maria's attack was too emotional. Because of this, she didn't notice that Kano had already disappeared in the span of a few short moments, and she released her barrage at what had become empty space. In the meantime, Kanon jumped from wall to wall around to Maria's back. The red trailing sword that extended from Kanon's hand dissipated in an instant. He managed to make it reappear, but when he tried to use it on Maria and Sakutaro again, it vanished once more. Because of Sakutaro's power, he was unable to make either of them the target of his attacks. Maria finally noticed where Kanon was, and she slowly turned around. Kanon made his sword materialize yet again. But no matter how often he tried, it kept fading out like a flashlight with a bad battery. As Maria howled, the entire parlor was surrounded by a cube of red magic barriers. It was a locked room symbolizing a barrier that Kanon could never escape. Kanon cursed his bad luck. Even though he had fulfilled his goal in the demon's trial, if he was killed here, he'd be dragged off of the game board.
Maria, ほどほどにね。ほどほどに。ママよりちょっとだけ手加減するよ。 誰？失礼します、マリア様。ゼパル様、フルフル様との契約によりお命頂戴いたします。シャノン、邪魔をするなー！無駄だよ、シャノン。マリアは誰にも照準できない。はい、照準など大それたことはいたしません。ただ私は身を守るだけです。
Okay. A cylindrical red magical barrier surrounded Shannon as she stood in the center of the parlor. All fun and games until Umineko shows that kind of sprites. In that case, Maria's, yeah. Maria's witch laughter is nothing to look down upon. Like, it creeps me out every time. Santa is not. Oh, Red Needle. It wasn't targeting Maria. Shannon was wielding this power to protect herself. So, Sakutaro's power didn't make it disappear.
お嬢様への気持ちはこんなところでついえるの。しっかりなさい。
By now, the shield with Shannon at the center had covered up the entire room. Its power crushed Maria and Sakutaro into the corner of the room. Ironically, it was the locked room barrier Maria had set up to prevent Kanon from escaping that they were pressed against, and the two together had them completely trapped. How are all of the pieces aware of the locked rooms?
よろしいですか？うん、いいよ。潰して。それでは。
The entire room was filled with the red light of the shield, and the output and pressure were raised to their limits. Then, crushed between the shield and their own locked room barrier, Maria and Sakutaro lost their forms, scattered into a spray of gold, and disappeared.
Arigatou. ここで消えるわけにはいかなかった。
こんなとこで負けてたら諦めがつかないもの。
そうさ。こんなとこで負けてたら諦められない。
ゼパル様、フルフル様。
Yeah, so much love this one.
私たちも共に試練を終えました。これでよろしいですか？
No. Yeah, it is sad.
いやー、本当にお見事だね。二人とも文句なしだったよ。
では最後はベアトリーチェの番かしら。おや？彼女はどこに？
もちろん彼女の選んだ生贄のところにさ。さあ、私たちもそこに行ってみよう。
Poor Natsuhi. She really cannot catch a break. This was my favorite of the shonen love fights. Alright, I see. Natsuhi could be seen in her room. Kraus had instructed her to retire for the night. Yeah, the way of phrasing is Natsuhi could be seen in her room by whom? She could be seen in her room. She was in her room. Why not go? Why could be seen instead of was? It's okay. Bidenism. I mean, yeah, of course, us as readers, we are seeing all of these things, but it's just an odd choice. Natsuhi getting the short end of the stick like always, yeah. Actually, I didn't, when the scene was loading, I was like, I didn't necessarily have an idea or a guess for who it would be, but then I saw Natsuhi, I was like, yeah, Natsuhi needs to suffer here too, I guess. Kraus had instructed her to retire for the night, but she couldn't afford to lie around sleeping on an important day like this. When he gazes upon the Natsuhi stares away. Yeah. She couldn't afford to lie around sleeping on an important day like this. However, she was aware that she was the type to get excited easily and that this sometimes held her husband back. So, though she didn't like it one bit, there was no way around it. It was probably close to the time for the break to end and the family conference to begin once again in the dining hall. Her husband would have to protect the Ushiromiya family honor from his greedy siblings all by himself. If she grew emotional by his side, she would just tie him down. Though she knew that quietly waiting here was the best way she could support him, that didn't make the waiting any easier. Natsuhi opened a drawer and took out the small box she kept her treasures in. This was her secret box. Inside was everything from valuable items to mere odds and ends. However, they were all precious, memorable treasures in Natsuhi's eyes. She pulled a small pouch out of the box. She emptied its contents onto her palm. 599 million runes. Wow, interesting title. It was a kind of charm that her birth family had given her when she had married. It was a spirit mirror to ward off evil. Interesting that it implies that Betty just chose Natsuhi. Yeah, they did say that it was the victim of her choosing. Her face was reflected in the mirror. She wasn't as young as she once was. Recently, she had begun to see a bit of her parents and grandparents in her own face. So when she stared at her reflection in the mirror like this, she felt as though her soul had returned to the side of her parents and the family she had been born into.
お父様、お母様、夏日が不勉強なばかりに、夫の支えになれません。
Of course, her face in the mirror did not answer. However, Natsuhi continued.
夫を愛しているからこそ、私はここで待っています。しかし、愛は寄り添うものと私は思ってしまいます。ここでこうしているのが一番の協力になると、そんな自分に惨めさを感じてしまうのです。辛いですね。愛ゆえに待つ。
A tear plopped onto the mirror. Old, dear memories of her life at her parents' house rose up inside her. Now was the time for her to follow her parents' example. When her father came home late, her mother would always sit up straight waiting for him, prepared for him to arrive at any moment. She would always wait for him, kneeling in the entrance hall, and no matter how late he came home, she would always wake up all her children and line them up to greet him. I don't know how I feel about that. At the time, I only thought of her as being exceptionally strict, but at this age, I finally understand how strong she was, persevering in her love for her beloved husband even after being left alone in charge of the house.
その夫への愛ゆえに、見知らぬ赤子を抱かされるのが許されなかったのです、ね。
Ooh, we're talking about the child again. Okay. The sudden voice made Natsuhi jump up and look about the room. Very conservative household, but not entirely uncommon in certain parts of Japan back during World War II and shortly afterwards. Yeah, I guess. I'm happy I don't live in that kind of place. Makes me sad. When she did, there stood a Western lady wrapped in an extravagant dress. Natsuhi was confused. There was no one like this in this mansion. However, though this was supposedly her first time meeting this person, it felt as though she had seen her somewhere before. Her anger at the ruffian who had snuck into her private room, and her confusion over the appearance of someone she didn't know caused her mind to go blank. So much so that it took quite a bit of time before she realized that this was the witch of the portrait.
あなたが19年前のあの日に見知らぬ赤子を殺めたことに私は罪を問いません。何の話ですか?
Beato had chosen Natsuhi as her sacrifice. It was because of what Natsuhi had done to Battler. Beato didn't know much about the details of Battler's birth. However, after discovering the fragment of the previous game, she had learned that there was a chance that Battler was the baby that Natsuhi had pushed off a cliff 19 years ago. Okay. Although that was just a blue wedge that Battler had used to protect Natsuhi from being framed, Beato thought it might have been a confession from Battler himself. And if that was the case to her, Natsuhi was an enemy who probably forced Battler to live a painful life.
夫への愛ゆえに夫の血を引かぬ赤子を殺した罪を私は愛ゆえに問いません。
So she's justifying Natsuhi being the victim of her choosing because of the possibility that she hurt Battler like that. Okay, interesting. I don't know what else might be afoot, okay? I'm just trying to wrap my head around what I just read.
何の話か分かりません。出て行って、ここは私の部屋です。ならば、私の愛ゆえに、あなたを殺すこともまた。問わないでください。
I had sudden flashbacks to the theory of Natsuhi and Kinzo sleeping around, okay? It's not a pleasant memory. I don't want to go back there again. Please, no. Beto slowly stuck out her arms, and with both hands she squeezed the air in front of her. That squeeze tightened around Natsuhi's throat. Natsuhi's heels lifted off the ground, and a faint purple hand shape appeared around her throat. Natsuhi frantically scratched at her throat, trying to stop whatever was strangling her, but there was nothing there. So to an outsider, it just looked as though Natsuhi was standing on her toes in anguish, scratching at her own throat.
愛し合う二人たちが皆決意を見せました。私のバトラさんへの思いがそれに劣っているとは思いません。私が19年前のあなたの罪を咎めないように、私も自らのこの罪を咎めません。
That's some twisted way of thinking, but okay. As Natsuhi twisted in agony, something she had been grasping fell from her grip. It rolled over to Beto, who dropped her gaze to see what it was. Oh, will the mirror do something? It was Natsuhi's spirit mirror. When Beto peered into it, there was a loud crack like a burst of electricity. The sound released Natsuhi from the invisible hands, and made Beto topple backwards like a doll. Coughing, Natsuhi tried to comprehend what was going on around her. Beto, whose head was still reeling and foggy as though she had hit it against something hard, slowly attempted to get to her feet. Her eyes were bewildered, as though even she didn't really understand what had happened.
これは何なんですか？
これは意外だ。雲の巣を触っても平気だったそなたが霊境はダメだというのか。
私にも何が何だか分かりません。一体何が。
She had thought that only Beato the Elder possessed non-human weak points, such as getting burned by spiderwebs and wards, and having her power sealed by spirit mirrors. However, for some reason, this spirit mirror alone could apparently affect her as well. Even she couldn't understand what about the spirit mirror could have such an overpowering effect on her. But Natsuhi was different. She instantly realized that the reason for the hesitation of this unearthly being, the switch of the portrait, had to be the power of the mirror. So she rapidly crawled across the floor and picked up the mirror. Then she stuck it out so that Beato could see it. Beato still didn't fully understand what was happening, so still sitting down, she looked vacantly at it. And this time, both of them understood the situation completely. Beato realized that the mirror was working some hateful power against her, and Natsuhi realized that the spirit mirror had the power to repel witches. Yeah, like, all of these characters are so enlightened and knowledgeable about magic and witches and locked rooms and interesting. Mirrors are frightening. Oh, Bea. Oh. Suddenly, this takes me back to one of the bosses in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. It's the one that I like the most out of them. Because there's I hope I'm not spoiling it for anyone, but it's about a couple where she is tricked by a, let's say, an evil mirror, and at the end he suits her and he's like, look into my eyes, there you will see true beauty. So, look into my eyes, Bear, if you're afraid to look into a mirror, and then you will see your beauty reflected back at you. There you are. Beatrice is not only a witch, but also a vampire. Okay. I guess. But I don't... Isn't it just that vampires don't have reflections? Like, mirrors don't harm them. Oh, Iris-chan. It's okay. Yeah, anyway.
それはお前が横島な魔女だからです。霊言新たかなるこの霊境は邪悪な存在のすべてを退けるのです。それを向けないで。
With the spirit mirror still held out, Natsuhi cautiously closed the gap between them. She was cautious so as to prevent the witch from suddenly lashing out and stealing the mirror, but she steadily moved forward to corner this evil.
あなたが何者なのか私には分かります。分かるのはあなたは私を殺そうとしたこと。
Ah, I see those statements.
そしてこの霊境にひるむ 邪悪な存在であるということです。退きなさい、邪悪め。
Beato didn't understand what was happening herself. She didn't know why she had to fear this spirit mirror. However, when she tried to look at the bright light let off by the spirit mirror, it pierced her eyes. Yeah, just like this white background is hurting mine. Please stop it. She understood that she had to be afraid, even if she didn't understand why. Thank you. Black it is. Thank you. By now, Beato realized that this spirit mirror was both terrifying and harmful. As it came closer to her, she felt an increasingly strong burning sensation over her whole body. as though someone was approaching her with a hot iron. She couldn't even open her eyes because of the mirror's bright, painful glint.
Sa, 元の世界へ退散なさい。横島なる者よ。この後ろ宮夏希。邪悪に対して一歩たりともひるみはしません。
It's no use. Why? Why is this musty mirror so... If I lose here, I'll be the only one to fail this trial. Just like George-san and Shannon-san and Jessica-san and Kanon-san, I want Battler-san to see value in me and treasure me. I've finally managed to admit that, so I can't fail now.
諦めちゃうの？あなただけが？
信じるんだ。愛の奇跡は必ず起こる。
I love Battler-san. I want him to notice me. And I want him to recognize and accept my feelings. My reason for calling him father as I dedicated myself to him was that no one helps a parent expecting something in return, and that helped me come to terms with getting nothing back. It was a deception to fool myself with. I love Battler-san. Okay. And I want him to recognize that. I admit it. I won't hide from it any longer. I was born to love Battler-san, and to have him love me back. Ooh, this last part though. Okay. Okay.
だからこんなところで負けられないんです。
退散なさい。横島なる者よ。ここにあなたの居場所は存在しません。
Her determination had come too late. If she had possessed it since the beginning, she would probably have finished off Natsuhi on the spot without any hesitation. Because she had wavered, it had taken time to kill Natsuhi and things had ended up like this. But now I am resolved. I want to love Battler-san. I want him to love me. And so I will kill. Because that makes sense somehow.
バトラさんのために私は生まれてきたのだから。
そう、それが。
聞きたかった。
Yeah. Following a sound like a beetle banging off the walls in the room, the spirit mirror was knocked out of Natsuhi's outstretched hand. It fell onto the floor, and the stake flying around the room pierced through it with a crash.
Gomanのルシファー、ここに。久しぶりの獲物が古ぼけた鏡一枚だなんて、私を愚弄するにも程があるわ。
ルシファーさん。
ベアトリーチェ様、試練の遂行を逃げられます。誰か来てください。誰か！
Now that the spirit mirror she had been relying on had been smashed, and another strange demon had been added to the fold, Natsuhi could do nothing but run for it. However, if Natsuhi made a scene and people gathered, the anti-magic toxin would burn Beto. Now was Beto's last chance.
ありがとう、ルシファーさん。覚悟、後ろ宮夏希。
Once again, Beto choked the empty air. This time, she wouldn't let her escape. She had to end Natsuhi's pain right away, for her sake, if nothing else. But her strength wasn't enough. While scratching at her throat, Natsuhi fought to escape the room. Her shaking hand stretched out to the lock on the door. A locked room is one of the definitions that makes a witch. Even unlocking the door would strengthen the anti-magic toxin a little. Since Beato was at her limit even with the locked room, if Natsuhi undid that block, Beato's power would weaken immediately and Natsuhi would surely escape into the hallway. Their strengths were matched. However, Natsuhi's began to surpass Beato's slightly. The power of the living to live... The power of the living to live is fundamentally stronger than the power of magic. Okay. Natsuhi dying, hype music starts. Of course, Beato was mustering all her might. However, Natsuhi was just slightly stronger.
十分だ。ルシファー、やれ。
What's happening?
ギョイ
Why is Battler commanding Lucifer to commit murder against Natsuhi? Alright, Lucifer transformed into a stick and like the time she had smashed Natsuhi's spirit mirror, flew violently around the room, then she struck Natsuhi's forehead. Natsuhi crumpled slowly. When Beato saw this, she also fell to her knees, breathing hard.
ねえゼパル、これってありなの？ベアトリーチェは自分の力だけで試練を成し遂げていないわ。
そうだね、フルフル。確かに試練は誰の助けも借りずに成し遂げなくてはならない。
でもね、ひょっとしたらそれには例外があるんじゃないかしら。
愛する二人は互いで一人だもの。
I was so sure you were gonna say that.
これは手助けじゃない。
バトラさん。
たかだか第一の晩からハラハラさせるな、お前は。
申し訳ございません。お言いつけを守らなくて。
お言いつけ？
その部屋でおとなしくしていなくて。
Beato hung her head apologetically. When he saw this, Battler scratched his head uncomfortably.
それを言ったら俺も申し訳なかった。言葉を選ばなかった。
いいえ、お父様。いえ、バトラさんは何も悪いことはありません。
いいぜ、好きに呼べばいい。
Why the sudden change of heart? Battler had always looked at the new Beatrice sternly. However, that was gone from his expression now.
確かに、かつてのお前は俺をバトラと呼びつけで呼んでいた。俺は最初、お前にそれと同じ呼び方を求めて、しかし、そんなのに意味はないんだ。お前はベアトだが、お前はお前だ。
I know it's Battler's game board.
好きに呼べばいい。
バトラさん。
そうだな。その呼び方がいいな。さすがにお父様は俺の趣味じゃねえぜ。
Sorry, Beto, I will stop the kiss or cosplay. Jesus Christ. Until this point, she had hesitated just to say Battler's name at all. Even if she had known that Battler wanted her to say his name without honorifics, that would have been beyond her right now. And even if she had been able to call him that, doing so could have hurt Battler even more. However, now she was allowed to call Battler by his name. If you just looked into her eyes, there would be no need to describe just how happy this made her feel.
ゼパルとフルフルに聞いた。おかしなゲームが始まっているようだな。
はい。
Tier list update: Batora, Mirror, Locked Room, Envy, Love, Math.
勝手なことをしてすみません。
いや、いい。そういう無軌道で何を始めるかわからないところも実にお前らしい。それにまあ ゲームの趣旨も聞いてる。
Just to point out, Goda is the game master.
二人一組で挑むのが正しいことになってるらしいな。
ええ、その通りです、バトラ卿。
もしも見事
我らはあなたたち二人を祝福し、魔法の奇跡を授けましょう。
こいつらがベアとの黄金蝶のブローチに力を与えてたらしい。だからその効果は保証済みってわけさ。俺とお前の腐れ縁ももう随分になる。たまにはこういう遊びがあってもいいだろうぜ。
バトラさん、
おや、聞いたかいフルフル。バトラ卿も試練に参加するようだ。
驚くには値しない。だってこれは最初から分かっていたことだもの。
ようこそ我らの試練へ、バトラ卿。ではあなたは誰を生贄に？
俺の仕事はすでに終わってる。確認するといい。
かしこまりました、バトラ卿。さあフルフル、確認してこよう。
ええ、そうしましょう。でもゼバル、これで愛し合う6人はみんな試練を成し遂げてしまったわ。次はどうすればいいかしら。
You asked them to kill even more people, of course. That's what it comes down to always.
6人の覚悟は本物だ。さらに次の試練で試すとしよう。
The two noisy demons disappeared. It seemed that they had left to go check on the sacrifice Battler had killed, but it also seemed that they had done so in order not to bother Battler and Beato, who could finally look each other in the eye and talk.
ここまでの物語はいかがですか？
Yes, please give me some NJ. Some NJ shades onto all of this, please. Battler only commits wholesome murders. When suddenly asked this question, NJ immediately came to her senses. Then, realizing that she had become immersed in this woman's tale, she felt a bit defeated and tried to look displeased. The hell am I reading? Yeah. That's me too. I've accepted my fate. A long time ago. I'm just curious what her reaction would be. Wholesome and murder are pretty mutually exclusive words. Yeah, I have no idea what the whole point of the murders is in this episode, because they definitely feel so much different. Maybe I'm also desensitized, or they're meant to make me feel that way. I'm not sure. But we'll see.
あ、愛の試練云々で巧みにごまかしてるけど、ちゃっかりと6人が死んで第一の番を構成してるわ。うまいものね。
ありゃ、ほんとだ。こいつは気づかなかった。
Amakusa clapped his hands as though he'd been outsmarted. Even though he'd figured it out before me, he played the fool.
愛し合う恋人たちの数がたまたま6人だっただけのこと。それが第一の番とうまく合致したのは偶然半分、様式美半分。その方が運命的で面白い。
人間は無意味な2つの事象を無理やり関連づけようとする悪癖がある。それを運命的と読み解かせるのが読み物の騙しでしょ。
お嬢はディスティニーとかミラクルとかそういうのに冷たいタイプらしいですな。
UFO と同じよ。誰もが知ってるけど誰も見たことないものだわ。
そいつはクールな例えだ。
と
Oh, he's just exactly that.
いつもの私なら愛だの幻想だのはミステリーには不要な無駄なシーンねとばっさり行きたいところだけど、それはおこのぎさんに否定されたわ。そういう愛のない見方だけでは真実に迫れないってね。
ああ、おこのぎの旦那の殺し文句ですかい？愛がなければ見えない。
それそれ。人の家族を物語の中で勝手に殺すことに対する怒りは置いておいて。
Mega based on Konogi, yeah.
あえてこの物語を書いた八条先生に敬意を表して言うなら、その描写には意味があることになる。何しろこれだけの文章量を割いて散々愛だの試練だの語ってる。
Yeah, pretty much. I'm also waiting to see what the meaning of it is supposed to be.
つまりこれがこの物語のテーマであり、キーワードだってことになるわ。
おや、赤インク以外で書いた文字は全て読むに値しないとまで言い切る御人も多いというのに。
Konogi Beatrice, the Witch of Love.
光栄なるかな、人の子よ。黒い文字も読んでくれて。
物語は書き手が何かを伝えるために書くものよ。そしてそれはどういうわけか、直接書いたら仏水という奥ゆかしい面倒な作法がある。愛がなければ真実に至れない云々という描写はこれまでの作品にも品質するわ。それがこの新作ではさらに顕著。書き手が一番伝えたくて考えてほしいのはそれってことになるわ。
Thinking about it, there have been many scenes about love since Beato first appeared. Even when she first appeared before Shannon, she spoke clearly about how love was the single element of the world. And the golden butterfly brooch she gave her was also an item for love. She said that she enjoyed sowing seeds of love and watching complications arise, and when Shannon stopped borrowing her power, the reason for her argument was also love. After Beato's interactions with battlers started up in full, scenes about love were toned down for a while. But the without love it cannot be seen definition of magic was mentioned repeatedly. Then in the tale right before this one, where Beato had become like a doll, the scenes shown made it seem almost as though Battler and Beato accepted each other as adversaries, or possibly something more. In the end, Battler regained some kind of memory, and his impression of Beato underwent a complete change. And then there's this game. From the beginning and throughout, the word love has been repeated over and over again ad nauseum, yes.
あなたが書いた物語は愛が何度も繰り返される。でもそれはマリアお姉ちゃんの主張でもベアトリーチェの主張でもない。八条東也の主張だわ。
そうです。それこそが私が語りたいこと。そして私なりの答えなのです。
答え？じゃあつまり12年前の事件は全ておかしな悪魔の愛の試練で引き起こされたと？
バカバカしい。私はあんたの恋愛小説を読みにここまで来たんじゃないわ。私が知りたいのはあんたが至ったと自称する真実よ。
愚かなるかな人の子よ。これだけ文章を割いてまだ伝わらないというのですか。
With an obviously condescending gaze, Hachijo shrugged. It was clear that she was trying to provoke Enji. She was probably hinting, if you can't stand talking with me, you can get out. Perhaps even if you're going to read my noble work and fail to understand it, what's more, not even try, you can get out for that reason as well. Under normal circumstances, Enji would already have thrown a fit and left. However, Enji couldn't do that. Though she found it sickening that the stranger was playing around with her family's fates in these stories, after reading this far through her tale, she was growing increasingly certain of something else. Just as Hachijo's followers said, this tale really did have the same presence, the same sense, as the tales written by Beatrice. The author was certainly different, however the tale had the same scent, because its author had arrived at the real truth. Enji was beginning to acknowledge this. Hachijo Toya was one who had reached Beatrice's truth, an endless witch like Beatrice who could add to the endlessly stretching parallel worlds of the Catbox.
ベアトリーチェの真実にたどり着いたものならば、私でなくとも新たな物語を紡げるでしょう。今回の原稿をもってきっと私以外にも真実に至るものが必ず現れる。そのものもまた新たな物語を紡ぐ資格を得るのです。
どんどん無限の魔女が増えていくわ。
そう。そして何人もの無限の魔女たちがベアトリーチェの猫箱の物語を増やしていく。増えれば増えるほどまた新たに真実に至るものが現れる。そうすることで一番最初の無限の魔女ベアトリーチェがあれだけの枚数の手紙に物語を記してボトルに詰めて海に投じた労力が初めて報われるのです。あなたは私に怒りの言葉をぶつけ席を立つこともできた。しかしそれをしませんでした。なぜ？
悔しいけれど、あんたの物語の中に何かの真相もしくはヒントがあることを認めつつあるからよ。
I already have my own ideas. However, that's no more than looking with a single eye. Unless I accept a different viewpoint from my own and look at things from more than one angle, I'll never be able to see the truth in 3 dimensions. That's my interpretation of without love it cannot be seen.
それでよい、人の子よ。後ろ宮家の最後の生き残りであるあなたが真実無限の魔女になることを運命も待ち望んでいるでしょう。私という存在などあなたという真の継承者を覚醒させるためのただの道しるべに過ぎないのだから。
I don't know, Red Needle. I wish I had even the silliest, stupidest idea. I don't know.
エンジェ・ベアトリーチェ。
Sometimes I have no idea what she's saying, but I'm positive she knows something. Golatrice. And maybe she actually has reached the truth that she claims. To summarize, I couldn't understand the truth from just the 2 message bottles Beatrice left behind. And since then I've been reading tale after tale of hints.
これはヒントという名の挑戦であり、挑発なわけだわ。
いかにも。
上等じゃない。あんたがたどり着いたという真実を私も掴み取ってやるわ。やはり私はここに訪れるべきだったんだわ。
その通り、未だ至れぬから私が招いたのです。人の子よ。
Let the truth I see and the truth you see overlap. Just as you see things with a single eye, so do I. And now that I found you for the first time, I too will be able to see the truth with both eyes. Ugh.
ようやく第一の番が起こりましたね。すっくすく眠い展開でした。
片目に目やにがついてるぜ。
どこに？いい加減なこと言わないでください。
お望み通り始めるぜ。
Yes, she was.
まずは第一の番だ。
Visiting the crime scenes. Oh, golly, I'm so happy about that. Not. Erika was dozing off on the bed, so when a knock sounded on the door, it took some time before she noticed. She looked at the clock and saw that not much time had passed since she had lain down.
はい、どちら様ですか？こんな時間に探偵の部屋をノックするからには相応の理由はあるんですよね。そうだ、今回のゲームを始める前に一つ宣言があります。
ああ、 例の探偵宣言とやらか好きにするがいいぜ。
いいえ、その逆です。勝負のレートを上げようということです。
勝負のレートとは？
何面白そうなこと言い出すじゃない。どういうことよ。
簡単な話よ。前回のゲームはバトラが1本取ったわ。だから今回エリカが1本を取ってもイーブンにしかならない。
前回のゲームは引き分けだったのでは？
勝って当たり前のゲームを落としたのよ。あんなの負けでなくてなんだというのよ。
Oh, you're keeping count. That's so cute.
ねえ、エリカ。
私が無様を晒さなければ勝てて当然のゲームでした。ははん、なるほど。つまり今回わざと探偵宣言を出さないことでわざと不利に戦い、それでも勝ってみせちゃって、前回の負けを帳消しどころか大逆転にしようって魂胆ね。
バトラさんの渾身のゲームにそんなおかしなハンデをつけて戦うなんて、身の程知らず以前に失礼です。
そうだな。むしろ負けた時の言い訳にするための保険にすら聞こえるぜ。
確かにそういう見方もあるわね。勝てば大勝利、でも負ければ言い訳可能なんてちょっとエリカ側に虫のいい話だわ。
大丈夫よ。ちゃんとかけるものは公平だわ。今回のゲームに探偵宣言なしの人間で勝てれば、バトラたちの魔女幻想は粉々の再起不能。でも逆にエリカが負けるようなら、このゴミくず探偵は忘却の深淵に最悪のかけらと一緒にぶち込んでやるの。
あいあいあい。
ね、公平でしょ。
Very balanced.
探偵という超人でなく、ただの人間が魔女幻想を打ち破るという最高の勝利。それと引き換えに自身の破滅をかけてるわけ。私はかつてのベアトとあんたのゲームみたいにダラダラとぬるいゲームを繰り返されちゃもう退屈なわけ。だから勝負のレートを上げて一気に勝負をさせるわけ。
まあ確かにそうね。今回のゲームをバトラが通しちゃったら、ベアとのゲームにバトラが勝利したことになり、ゲームは終了してしまう。ある意味逃すことのできない決戦だものね。
言い分は分かった。エリカはそれでいいのか？
ええ、もちろんです。前回の敗北で失った主よりの信頼を取り戻すために、私は自分の破滅すらもかけるのです。
お前の意志。
Good question. She has no choice, I guess.
どうしたの？
Does that count of that being of her own
答
will?
えてあげなさい。
当然です。私の意志です。私は絶対に負けません。探偵宣言なんかなくても、あんたを必ず打ち破ってみせます。
バトラさ
ん。いいだろう。お前がそうしたいというなら、その勝負を受けてやる。
ありがとうございます。受けたことを必ず後悔させてやりますから。まあ思えばバトラだって人間側だった時はずっと探偵権限なんて便利な力は一切なかった。許されてたのは青き真実と復讐要求だけ。
そういうこと。ある意味前回のゲームの方がアンフェアだったわけだわ。それで勝ちを落とすのだから、それは負けと全く同じ。
好きにしろ。 お前が探偵宣言をしたくなったらいつでもすればいい。今はそれを保留していると理解しておく。
誰か宣言なんかするもんですか、あんた程度の相手に。
では始めなさい。二人とも私の退屈はもう始まっているわ。
お任せを我が主。必ずや魔女幻想を打ち破ってご覧に入れます。
And with that, she's gone. Sorry, Chidorin. George and Jessica had been the ones knocking on Erika's door. They were asking whether Battler and Maria had come to this room. Of course they hadn't.
ずいぶん前に下に飲み物を取りに行くと言って降りたきり戻らないんだ。ひょっとしてエリカちゃんの部屋に来てるかなと思ってね。
来るわけないです。
5 minutes is fine. Oh,
屋敷にでも行ったんじゃないですか？
屋敷の使用人室や食堂に電話してるんだけど誰も出なくて。
あなたたちはここにいてください。私はちょっと屋敷の様子を見てきます。
危ないよ、こんな時間に。
この閉鎖された島に不審者がいるはずもないじゃないですか。いとこ部屋とやらにいてください。何かあったら連絡しますから。ゲストハウスの使用人室の人たちにもゲストハウスを出ないように伝えてください。では。
ちょっとエリカさん。
変わった子だね。
After speaking her mind and not listening to anything else, Erika dashed down the stairs and rushed outside.
第一の番は夜が明けてから発覚がパターンでしたが、今回は即勝負ときましたか。ゲストハウスで事件は起きていないとなると、惨劇の舞台は屋敷ってことになりますね。
Though she had an umbrella up, Erika got drenched as she sprinted. She brashly licked the raindrops that dripped down her face. Erika was now at her most energetic. According to her memory of the previous game, the entrance to the mansion would be locked at the same time the family conference started. However, the lock was undone this time. Had someone unlocked it, or had the lock not been set? Or had it not been possible to set the lock?
まあ、考えても無駄ですね。そんなのゲームマスターの気まぐれかもしれませんから。
Oh, thank you, Yaya. The road that hydrates is so shitty. Thank you, thank you. As soon as she entered the entrance hall, the door to the parlor opened violently. Out of it flew Goda's large body.
おや、こんばんは、ゴーダさん。何かございましたか？
警察！救急車を！
That expression really is wonderfully pathetic. Just fitting for the first one to discover the crime.
どうか落ち着いてください。台風の孤島でどうやって警察と救急車が来てくれるって言うんです？どうせ電話は普通にされてるんですから、落ち着いてください。
Kraus and Rudolph's yells could be heard from the parlor. Their shaken appearance perfectly signified the arrival of the first twilight.
それでは死者と現場、状況の再構築をお願いします。
小休止に出た人間が戻らないので、大人たちが客間へ行ったところ、扉が内から閉ざされて開かなかった。後にわかるが、客間内の帽子掛けが観音開きの扉に内側から缶抜きにされていた。
扉は内から閉ざされ、そして窓も内側から施錠と言いたいわけですね。
そういうことだ。外に回り、窓から客間内を見たところ、ローザがソファーに不自然な格好で横になり、額から血を流しているのが見えた。そこで ガラスを割って客間に入り、他にマリアも壁際に血まみれで倒れているのを発見した。
なるほど、それは大騒ぎですね。他の現場は？
エリカが屋敷に入った時、玄関が施錠されていなかったのはこの客間を外から確認するために出入りがあったから。その直前までは施錠されていたため、他にも姿を消した人間たちが屋敷内のどこかで倒れている可能性があるとして、
I'm having a hard time following this paragraph. What? So the entrance was unlocked when you came into the mansion, right? So when Erika came. Because they had gone out through it to check the parlor from the outside. Ah, okay. Since the entrance was locked before the adults went through it, they thought that the other people who had gone missing might be somewhere within the mansion in a similar condition. Okay. That was... I don't know why that was a lot. Maybe I'm just starting to get sleepy.
先ほど長々と見せていただいたゲロカス妄想での犠牲者と死んだ場所は実際にも同じですか？
同じだ。
客間にはローザとマリア、それから夏日が自室で、キリエがクラウスの書斎、エヴァはバラ庭園。いいえ、貴賓室に移動させたんでしたっけ？
Interesting how, like, all of the ladies were targeted.
そうだ。エヴァの遺体は貴賓室で見つかる。
これで犠牲者5人ですね。おや、第一の番には1人足りない。6人目は誰で、どこです？
Good question.
旦那様、この部屋にもチェーンが。切断しろい。犯人が隠れてるかもしれねえ。ゴード、やる。
Rudolph and Kraus had brought rifles from Kinzo's prized collection. They yelled at Goda, who was carrying the bolt cutter, to cut the chain. The victims had been found one after another at several locations inside the mansion. The men who had lost their wives searched through the mansion in a rage, looking for the culprit. This was a guest room. It had previously been a room where the relatives would stay, but it hadn't been used much since the construction of the guest house. This forgotten room was locked from the inside by the chain. As soon as the chain was cut, Rudolph pushed Goda aside and flew into the room.
出てきやがれ。ベッドに誰かいるぞ。兄貴、明かりを。
Kraus pushed the switch on the wall. The guest room lit up, and the figure lying on the bed came into view. Oh, interesting.
お前、どうしてこんなところに。
For a very brief moment, I did think of that. Did he choose peace battle? And I was like, but why? But okay, but here we are. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I did have like a split second thought when he mentioned earlier. Interesting. The music though, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this. On the one side I am intrigued by Game Master Battler and what his point is with all of this. On the other side it's like, this is one of the coolest images we've seen of Battler, but he's supposed to be dead in it, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling looking at it. It's so weird, it's so weird. For the first time it's Battler, interesting since he usually makes it to the end, yes. But he made a choice to do it this way. He looks pretty handsome, but I know, right? It's that kind of weird contradiction. I mean, he's handsome anyway. Rudolph crumpled to his knees and fell onto Battler's body. No words could console him as he cried with a mad sorrow. In a single night he had lost both his wife and his son. During this time, Kraus checked the window locks and the bathroom and searched the closet to find if anyone was hiding there, but he found no one.
Batora! Batora! Oh! お気の毒です。信じられんことだが、この部屋も密室だ。またですか?
You cut the chain yourself, man!
そうだ。キリエさんのいた私の書斎、夏日の自室、エヴァの貴賓室、ローザ親子の客間、そしてこのバトラ君の客室。すべてが密室ということではない。わけがわからん。まさか自殺だとでも言うのか。そんなことあるもんか。これがどう自殺だってんだ。
In a weird way, it is.
I
don't know.
バトラー。
おや、これは意外でした。まさか6人目はあなた自身とは。
たまには自分殺しも面白いもんさ。
そして全ての現場はいずれも密室です。魔法以外では成し得ない殺人です。
それを暴くゲームじゃないですか。すなわち魔法以外で成し得なければならない殺人というわけです。だって本当に魔法でしかできなかったらそれってゲームが成立しませんから。
面白い考え方だな。なるほど。確かに俺たちのゲームはそういうゲームだ。
For a moment I was like, why is Battler's arm so thin? Like, what is happening? And then I realized it's Beatrice's sleeve that's coming on top of it. Low tier god's advice? What advice is that? Battler cursed skeleton arm. Yeah, I know, right? Like for a moment I was like, what's happening there? And then yeah, okay, it's Beatrice's sleeve. This game is fair. The goal is to explain without magic the strange crimes that the opposing side claims to have carried out using magic. If that couldn't be done, it wouldn't be a game. In other words, just as Erika said, it has to be possible to perform the murders without magic. To view it from the opposite angle, the witch side has a certain responsibility. They have to make a crime that can be reproduced with tricks and not magic. As long as the human side can't figure out those tricks, the witch side can use all kinds of magic and illusions. Okay. Wait, well, he didn't take it quite literally. He took it literally, but in a meta sense, because he didn't kill himself. He killed Peace version of himself. Which I don't really know where that lands. But yeah, anyway. In other words, in order to carry out a locked room murder with magic, it is necessary to create a crime that is possible to carry out by human hands.
今ならわかるわ。セールチーヤでムカつくクラスメートたちを殺せと七姉妹に命じたとき、どうして彼女らにそれができなかったか。そしてマモンが言った意味が今ならわかるわ。
魔法は自らの手で成し遂げられることしかできない。
At that time, if I had possessed the determination to kill my classmates, no, that's not it. At that time, if I had been capable of killing my classmates, capable of going through with it, then the Seven Sisters of Purgatory would probably have pulled it off for me. They could only accomplish what I could do myself. No, that's not it either. They could take what I had accomplished and turn it into magic. Of course, there were a great number of witnesses in that classroom, so that would probably have been impossible. Maria One-chan would call it being burned by the anti-magic toxin. However, if I had called those classmates out somewhere without witnesses and carried out murder myself, that would be when the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could carry out a magical murder.
魔女は魔法をもってしても自らにできないことをできない。自らにできることのみ魔法で装飾できる。
面白きかな。魔法を使わずして成し遂げる者が魔法を語り魔女を名乗るのだから。このエリカとやらはそれを初めから理解している。だから絶対に魔女に屈しない。絶対にトリックで説明できるという信念を持ってる。かつてのバトラにはそれがなかったから、これまでああも翻弄されてきたという。
このルールを見破られたら魔女に勝ち目はなくなるわ。だからそれを見破られる前に相手を屈服させなくちゃいけない。長引けば長引くほど、そしてヒントを与えれば与えるほど魔女は圧倒的に不利になっていく。
Once again, my thoughts are spinning in circles. Why did Beto prolong this game until she lost? Many victims had been found, and the mansion was still wrapped in chaos. Hideyoshi's group seemed to have gone to the guest house, worrying about the safety of the kids there. Kraus and Rudolph were in the hall, talking about what should be done next. During a short gap in this chaos, Erika dashed all about the mansion. She was checking the crime scenes. Normally, with the detective's authority, Erika had the right to openly investigate the crime scenes to her heart's content. However, this time she hadn't yet invoked that authority. Because of that, and with her being a guest and an outsider, there was little to no chance that she would be allowed to investigate. So she was forced to quickly check all of the crime scenes now, while she could still run about as she pleased. In the servant room, there had been a clear folder containing a plan of the mansion's interior. Because she had borrowed that, she knew the location of every room in the mansion. Erika efficiently made her way through the mansion, dashing into each crime scene in turn.
エリカ卿、ご存知とは思いますが、念のためご忠告をいたします。
はい、何です？
エリカ卿は確かに写真並みの驚くべき記憶力をお持ちです。それは探偵権限と組み合わせることで何者にも欺かれぬものとなり得ました。
ああ、分かってます。探偵宣言をしていない私は写真並みの記憶力を持っていても欺かれない保証はないってわけですね。もちろん理解していますとも、かといって現場を直接視認しないわけにはいきませんから。前回のゲームではそこに慢心し悔やみきれぬ失態を犯しましたから。
極論、今のエリカ卿はどれほど検視をしようとも死んだふりを見破れない可能性が常に残るという全ての状況を個別に確定させるためにもバトラに復唱要求をする必要があるでしょう。
それを引き出すために青き真実を駆使しなくてはなりませんね。分かってます。基礎を十分に基本から攻めましょう。探偵権限などなくてもハンデにはなりません。かつてのバトラと同じ条件で戦っているだけなんですから。
Yes, this fight is retracing the old days when... the old days! when Battler and Bato fought so fiercely. I have no conveniences such as the detective's authority. I truly do just have to fight the same way the old Battler fought. Thinking of it this way, it may be true that I was in a very blessed unfair position last game, just as my master said. It may be difficult without the detective's authority, which also holds my honor as a detective. But I won't let that be a handicap. I know that what magic is, and I'm fully aware of how to fight with the red and blue truths. I know the way to fight in this game many times better than the old battler did. I quickly visited the VIP room, Krause's study, and Natsuhi's room on the second floor, as well as the parlor and the guest room on the first floor. This time checking with my own eyes, as I had neglected to do in the last game. First off, all of the scenes were made to look like locked rooms. Probably of special note is the fact that the master keys have no relation to the tricks this time. The locked rooms were all constructed without relying on any element that could be locked or unlocked from the outside by a master key or something else. The windows were locked from the inside and the doors were all locked and chained. The master key can get around all of the locks on the doors, but the window locks and the chain locks are more trouble than they might appear. I haven't yet used a repetition request to get confirmation that it's impossible to manipulate them from the outside, but I'm sure he'll be able to say it in red. It would be stupid otherwise.
わかってます。今の私はただの人間。遺体の死亡確認さえ満足にできやしない。
Last time I neglected to check the bodies and let the massive piece of magic get by me. I won't fail like that again. If I let that happen even once more, I won't be able to face the master I'm so indebted to.
すべての現場を確認し、情報の整理が終わりました。ご報告いたします。
お願いします。
まず、すべての部屋は窓の施錠とチェーンロック等による外部よりの干渉の困難な方法によって密室を構築されている。唯一の例外はローザとマリアの死んでいた客間のみです。
金慶、謹んで申し上げる。帽子掛けが勘抜きにされていたものなり。
実質的にチェーンロックと同様の内側のみより施錠可能と思われるものなりや。
マスターキーによる解釈を完全に封じた密室を構成するためでしょう。客間の性格上、チェーンロックがないため他の何かで代用することも自然です。
ならどうしてチェーンロックのある他の部屋を密室に選ばなかったかが興味深いですね。バトラが死んでいた客室は他にも数室あって同じような構造をしてたわけですよね。
はい、そうです。
ならそこに閉じ込めれば全員チェーンロックの密室ということでより美しかったはずなのにそれをしなかった。どうもこの客間の帽子掛けの勘抜きとやらがうさんくさいです。復唱要求でよく追求するべきでしょうね。あと遺体なんですが前回の首がバッサリみたいに探偵権限がなくとも絶対の死亡を確認できるようなものはありましたか？
Of course, she had checked all of the corpses in all of the crime scenes this time. However, without the detective's authority, she had no guarantee that she would be able to see through any faked deaths with certainty. The old battler had also started fighting by doubting whether the victims were truly dead. It was the same for Erika.
金慶、謹んで申し上げる。絶対の死を物理的に確認できる遺体はないと知りたまえ。
金慶、謹んで申し上げ立てまつる。いずれの遺体も装飾された偽装死の可能性を否定できぬものなり。
死亡確定の復唱要求をしたところでバトラが簡単に答えてくれるとも思いませんが、やれやれ。
私はベアとの時の6連鎖密室の方が面白かったけど、でもマスターキーが一切通用しないという意味においては密室の完成度は今回の方が上ね。
バトラが狙ってくる密室破りはおおむね2つ。密室錯覚と事件錯覚、このどちらかね。
密室錯覚はわかるわ。一見密室に見えて実はそうじゃないってことでしょ。事件錯覚ってのは何？
事件が起こったと錯覚することよ。つまり本当に死んでいるのかどうかということ。
何それ、バカバカしい。いくら密室でも中の人が生きてたらそんなのただのトイレでおしっこしてるのと同じだわ。でも今回の密室殺人、 ぶっちゃけそれが回答だとしか思えないのよね。
チェーンロックを外側から細工する無限の可能性は、隠し扉の有無、遠隔殺人の有無、あるいは自殺の可能性だって、そもそも密室が成立しているのかさえわからないというのに。
私はバトラのゲーム版裏から見てるから知ってるけど、これは完璧な密室よ。密室は内部からのみ構築され、外部からは構築も解除も干渉も一切できない。
それ赤で言える？
さすがにそれはバトラに悪いから遠慮するわ。ベルンが私を愛してるんだったら、私の発言も赤き真実で見えるはずよ。
Alright.
なら密室は完璧。つまりこれは事件錯覚ってことになるわ。
そうなるわね。だとしたらこれは全部狂言密室だわ。大方エリカがあまりに空気読めずに探偵探偵と騒ぐものだから、後ろ宮家みんなで結託して狂言殺人を披露してからかってみたってことじゃない？あら、これ正解？私ってば超名探
偵。I guess a rare wholesome moment.
それが困ったことに、これは狂言じゃないのよ。犠牲者はきっちり殺されてるわ。
2日目の24時の時点でとかじゃなくて？
探偵宣言を出してこそいないけど、彼女の検視は極めて正確よ。私が赤き真実を与えられるくらいにね。
それでエリカの検視時に間違いなく死亡してたってことになるの？
They deserve each other, I suppose. I don't know.
そうよ。それはもうがっつりと。
でも赤き真実では言ってあげないのね。エリカはその赤が喉から手が出るほど欲しいだろうに。
だって今回のあいつ探偵でさえないもの。赤き真実なんてあげないわ。
しかしとなるとすごいじゃない。バトラの今回のこれ完璧な密室殺人だわ。
あら、そうなるの？
エリカ大丈夫？一見普通の密室殺人だけど、地味にかなりヤバい密室だわこれ。探偵権限さえないエリカにはちょっと荷が重いんじゃない？
自称名探偵だもの。きっとエリカはやってくれるわ。探偵ですらない人間風情に打ち破られたら、バトラもベアトも最高にざまあないくらいに粉々でしょ。
それに万一エリカが負けても最悪のかけらにぶち込んで忘却の深淵に叩き込んで遊ぶから、それはそれで面白そうだし。
そういうこと。私たちはどっちに転んでも退屈しないわ。
あんたってば本当に血も涙もないわね。ま、そんな黒猫を雑巾のように絞って一滴だけ滴る雫を舐める時が私の至福なわけだけど。
ベアとのゲーム版でも散々遊ばせてもらってるけど、もう何も出てきやしないくらいに絞り尽くしたわ。このゲームもこれでおしまいなのよ。だから最後にふさわしくエリカ、バトラ、互いの破滅をかけた一騎打ち。
このゲームで無限にあんたと遊ぼうと思ったのに残念だわ。
とんでもない。十分にあんたに付き合わされたわよ。また面白そうなゲーム版を見つけてらっしゃい。そしたらまた遊んであげる。
本当にあんたは私を飽きさせないわ。それでいいのよ、ベルンカステル。そんなあんたの表情を苦悶に歪めることだけが私が覚えてしまった唯一の禁断の蜜なのだから。
Lambda Delta had guaranteed that it was a perfect locked room. Berncastle had guaranteed that it was a perfect murder. A perfect locked room murder. The witches hated to be a killjoy, so they wouldn't yet say anything with the red truth. Pursuing that would be the role of Battler and Erika. Alright.
随分ドタバタと現場巡りをしたようだな。
Seems like a perfect spot to make a save and leave it for now. Everything has been set. I guess we jump into detective work or quasi-detective work next time. Did we get any like character stuff updated? I'm not sure. We do, yeah? Oh wow, interesting. They're like... Natsuhi, of course, discovered in her own room. Furudo Erika did not perform a sufficiently detailed investigation, so the details of the cause of death are unknown. Ah, so it's just... yeah. It's just saying where they were found and that's it. Okay. Okay, that's all. That's all there is. Alright. What is this music though? Wow. Where? Okay. Yeah, thanks for joining me, as always. Erika will put her love glasses, which will allow her to see the love particles on the love corpses. Oh my god. I don't know if I want to know what that means in practical terms. Yeah. Well. Aww, that's so sweet. Oh, Rabu. Yeah, it seems this episode is all about it. In so many ways. So many kinds of it. Just like Deso was making notes of it. Interesting. Somehow very little happened, but the themes are slowly reaching a climax, it seems. This is the Witch of... Oh man. Yeah, it just feels like they set things up, right? And now they're diving into them. So we will get to see more of that, I suppose, next time. See what they make of it. So far it's been just the madness of trials and demons and all kinds of love, I suppose. And now we're going back to a more down to earth, let's explain how this happened or could have been achieved in human terms. Thoughts on Beatrice, your loving battler? I don't necessarily have anything against it. I guess I have this like instinct there that there's, or maybe I was projecting it, I don't know. That whatever connection is between them, not necessarily this particular Beatrice, you know, but like just generally speaking, whatever connection there is between Beatrice and Battler, it's not the kind of high schooly romance kind of thing. Like I've always had this, maybe I had a thought or a desire and then I turned it into an expectation and now I'm projecting it. So like if I am doing that, my bad, apologies in advance. But I just had this gut feeling that there was something else that wasn't necessarily romanticized love, right? So now I don't know if this is that, if she means it in that way, or if it's just the surface layer of something deeper, more complex, more nuanced, whatever. I don't know. It's just, it comes off a little bit weird because she's supposedly this very novel entity, but she was created for Battler's sake, so now she's kind of subservient, or like suddenly just projects this whole idea of her own existence being centered around Battler. So I don't know where it's going. It probably has a point, but just by the nature of it being like this for now, or like me seeing just this part so far, it just gives me a bit of a don't really know what this is, but I guess I will roll with it until maybe something becomes a bit clearer. Oh, hey Squid! Oh, so nice to see you. Hi, hi. What thoughts do I have? Not about anything specific or answers, more about what questions do you have? I don't know. I wish I had something that strung together could form a sentence. I guess I just have like a lot of little fragments floating in my head that I'm not necessarily able to piece them together either as thoughts or as questions. I don't know. It's quite a lot. Work has been kicking my butt, but I gotta do my job here some of the time too. Yeah, I feel you. I feel 100%. Hang in there, Gambate. You can do it if you believe in you, Squid. As I just said, there seems to be a lot of love talk in this episode in particular, but it always has always been present. Oh yes, no, of course. I'm not saying that it wasn't present before. It's just now there. It feels like they're kind of doubling down on it or something. Yeah. Hey, yes. There he is. Yeah. I don't know. I like whenever you guys ask me things, I just
Your recognition honors me.
Oh, thank you so much, Squid. That's so nice. Oh, thank you for using your Prime sub on me. I wish I had something more popular and interesting to say. Instead, I just have like these little, like I said, little glimpses, little fragments flowing in the ether, floating in the ether. Like for instance, earlier, if you had asked me, who did Battler kill? My answer on the outside would be, I probably have no idea where this is going, so I don't think I know who Battler killed. But I did have like I said, just a split-second instinct of it. I didn't hang on to it. And I kind of have those a lot throughout reading this, but I don't voice all of them out loud because I guess I assume that by definition, since they're coming from me, they must be stupid. So yeah, I don't know. I wish I had something more interesting to say. It's high school love, but they go on a locked room date instead of an aquarium. Oh. I guess. It's Battler's game board, and he wanted to prove that he understands all of Beatrice, and now he gives us this. All we can do is trying to figure out what he's trying to show us. Yeah, I'm more than trying to figure it out, I'm trying to absorb it also, because it's quite a lot. And I don't know how I can come to terms with certain things, but like I said, I'm already feeling a little bit more desensitized towards the murders, and I guess I don't know if it's something that's happened to me just because there's been just so many repetitions of this whole thing, and now it's episode 6, or that is the whole point of how things are constructed, is instilling this sense within you to disconnect emotionally from the idea that these are murders and focus more on the idea that these are game boards and pieces, and the things that happen and the things that they do are meaningful in a backward sense of thinking, why would the person who was game master in that particular episode choose that, right? So like I kind of feel invited to ascend a little bit and no longer be bothered so much by the idea of murder, but try to think at this kind of higher level. Although I don't know if I have the abilities to rise up to that, but yeah. One thing you picked up on, which brought a smile to my face, was that you noticed pretty quickly that the notions of love in this episode seem very strict and absolute, not necessarily what most people would see love as. No, I actually think what they were talking about, and like the trial with the new demons, and like everything that in each scene of murder was shown to us, I think, first of all, it's drawing on very human, tragic experiences of love, of failed love in some sense, and then taking those negative experiences and then projecting them back onto what love is supposed to be and kind of building a definition of it, which is quite of a crooked, twisted way to go about it, because I think true love is none of those things. On the contrary, true love is not hell. True love is not anguish. True love is not, you have to, it's not something that you have to hold on to it with your claws and teeth and like hold it close so that nobody takes it away from you. It's quite the opposite. So yeah, it made me think a lot of things, but it's interesting that we got such extreme views on love from the characters' experiences, because it like makes you think about life in certain ways. What I'm saying right now is even better. Well, this is more or less what was going through my head the whole time. I just didn't want to sound like a broken record and be like, no, what is this? I don't agree. You know. I'm just amazed the story is still going. Beefy, we still have like a whole chunk in front of us. It's gonna go for a long while. Yeah. Although we've come a long way. Like 6 out of 8 is chunky too, right? Yeah. Yep. I guess I'll take your question, Motion, as motivation to try to string my thoughts together a bit better, and in the future maybe provide something more coherent. Right now I don't have it, and I'm really sorry. It's kind of a point. You don't worry about taking a piece in a game of chess. Yeah, I know, but at the same time, when you take a piece in a game of chess, you just take it off the board and put it to the side. You don't brutally murder it and splatter its blood all over the place, you know? Like next stream has a funny bird moment. Okay, looking forward to it. Let's see. I'm curious. I thought Nezu was about to 1 Corinthians. No, I really was not going to go there. There's 2 episodes left, but I think it's not an exaggeration to say that most people get it at the end of episode 6. Okay. I will likely not be most people, so please bear with me and don't be too disappointed. Anyway. Alrighty. Thank you so much for the lovely times and the super awesome conversations. Curious to see how it goes. Looking forward to the funny bird moments. So then I will see you all again on Thursday and we pick it back up. Nothing get it as solving every puzzle, but just so that's what this is all about. Yeah, I don't want to solve every single puzzle. Yeah, that's not what I'm gunning for. I never really gunned for it because I don't think I can pull it off anyway. But just to get a bit more understanding, that would be nice. We'll see. Right. Until then, I bid you farewell for today or tonight. Take care. Alright, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Night night. Take care. Or, you know, good continuation to your day. For Squid is probably like what, midday. Yeah. Wherever you are in this world, take care. Have a good, lovely day or end to your day. And I will see you again on Thursday, same time.